Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over web pages. Web pages are basically just pages in your web applications. I'm currently in the Inhouse Cloud app builder in our demo application. Whenever an application is created, two pages are created by default, an index page and a not found page. An index page is just a random page that can be reconfigured, um, but the not found page is a page that is served up by the system whenever the user attempts to navigate to a page that perhaps does not exist. Right, to manage pages, all you need to do is go to the page manager on the top left corner. Let's jump in to our index page and just go from top to bottom at the page configuration. As you can see at the top, we have our page name, as is basically what it sounds like. You can change the name to whatever you want. You can have an application that has, hundreds of pages with hundreds of names, right? We have our root application flag. So basically, this just indicates to the system that this is our root page. And this comes in handy whenever you are navigating to an app. And let's say on the, and there's no slug, right? As you can see over here, there's no slug. Now the system knows to select this page as the page that you intend to go to because you basically set it here as the root page. It doesn't require a slug. That's pretty much what this setting this to true means. Now we have SEO settings, and these are your traditional SEO configurations, your title, description, some of the um, configurations for search engines. You have your open graph settings. This is for social media SEO. As you can see here, we have a dynamic flag to where we can make SEO dynamic. So this just simply means that SEO can be static. I could just put some static text here and just say, well, static text. So this was like a website, or some random page that serves up the same content. Nothing changes. You could basically use static SEO. But if you were trying to like configure SEO for like a dynamic page, so let's say a page like, maybe the details page of a blog, or like of a car dealership where you're trying to like, show a certain page, or like an Airbnb rental, you could basically just configure your SEO to connect to your app data so that the page SEO will be dynamic based on the route and based on the data in the application. All right. And you could do something like, let's say, parameter dot app underscore data dot, let's just use the example of a blog. Okay. Let's just assume that I had a blog in my application, and I'm just going to call this SEO title. Let's say that was one of the fields that we had in our blog. So you can see how this becomes very powerful, using this to build dynamic SEO. All right, here we have our slug. As you can see, if you had a custom domain, the slug comes after the custom domain. And if you have if you're using the standard or default domain, the same thing applies. So if I were to put here some text, let me just say page 1 as my slug. As you can see, to get to this page, the user will have to go to the domain / page 1. Now, if the user doesn't go to the domain / page 1 in our 2-page configuration, then the system is going to kick the user into the not found page. All right, just keep that in mind. And here we have a configuration for page restrictions. Now, if this application was an application that was kind of behind some kind of access wall, so let's say this was members only, you wanted people to be logged in to see the contents, all you would need to do is connect this application or restrict this application and then come to the page configuration and say, hey, I want to restrict this page. Because technically, an application could be restricted, but you might have a page or two that you might want open. On the Inhouz Cloud platform, you have that granular ability to decide what pages you want to be hidden and what pages you want to be exposed, regardless of if your app is restricted or not. All right. And then we have our life cycle functions. So these functions trigger whenever the page loads and whenever the page closes. So this is really useful when you are trying to load in page specific data. You could basically take data from our slug, also from our route parameter, and use them in your function to query up data. And then when you leave the page, it's always nice to clean up whatever data that you pulled into a page. It just helps to keep your apps optimized. All right. So that was a very quick tour into pages. Before we end this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create a new page. All right, so to create a new page, all you need to do is click on the Add Page icon and give your page a name. I'm going to give this page a name of second. I'm going to add this page and I'm going to go into the second page. As you can see, it gives me a warning that the slug is already in use, and that's because my index page does not have a slug because it's my root page. I'm going to change this here to second. All right. And there you have it. I have two pages. One is my index page and one is the second page, literally called second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save. If I refresh, well, these two pages look the exact same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drag in a text block, call this first page, and go to my second page, do the exact same thing, drag in a text block, call this second page. All right, so as you can see, if we go to the first page, second page, you can see it reflected in our URL. If you look into our app data, if you look into the app settings, you can see that we have our slug, we have the route parameters in our app settings. So you can think of using this page configuration in a dynamic way to basically pull in data. Before we wrap up this video, I just want to just go over some basic concepts again. Pages are just like your standard pages in your traditional software. On the Inhouz Cloud platform, you can have unlimited amount of pages, but the more pages you have or the more elements you have, there is that app size issue, but we have optimized this process to where you can have an unlimited amount of pages, but it's probably best to go with dynamic pages rather than static pages if you have an application that you intend to scale with dynamic data. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.